what I felt, I'd never gave that many mock tests because I felt that mock test is like sitting at your comfort of your home and वो कितना भी कर लो वो feel नहीं आता.
Many toppers
Yes,
have done the same thing, and I emphasize this a lot to the candidates that this is the best thing rather than pausing the video and making notes. उसकी बजाय
yes,
follow the magazine और उसमें से notes बनाओ because then that will be the primary source. तो ये तो है ही.
yes, ma'am.
Hello my dear friends, welcome to Adda 24/7. तो आज इस खास सेशन में एक खास गेस्ट है मेरे साथ, अमित कुमार. लेट्स वेलकम आरबीआई ग्रेड बी 2024 ऑफिसर अमित कुमार. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for the opportunity.
जी, thank you for coming actually on the channel, and we are grateful to have you today on this platform. क्योंकि अमित इसका रीजन ये है that not only you are a selected officer, but the story that you have of clearing so many competitive examinations, इतना hard work, इतनी perseverance जो आपके पास है, वो आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे. एंड आई एम प्रिटी श्योर कि जो एस्पिरेंट्स वहां बैठे हैं वो बहुत ज्यादा मोटिवेटेड होने वाले हैं आज आपकी स्टोरी से.
I would love to have that honor to motivate people if they can be and to guide them in whatever possible I can. And thank you for the opportunity for me to give me to share my views and for so much of respect. I'm really obliged for that.
Okay. तो जैसे मैंने स्टूडेंट्स को बताया दैट नॉट ओनली आरबीआई ग्रेड बी आपने क्लियर किया है विच इज इन इटसेल्फ अ वेरी बिग अचीवमेंट. ये हमारी बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री का टॉप नॉच एग्जाम है. बहुत अच्छी पोस्ट आपको ये प्रोवाइड करता है. तो ये आपने क्लियर किया और इस एग्जाम को क्लियर करने के लिए आई एम प्राउड हियर टू टेल आप जैसे कैंडिडेट्स जो बिना कोई कोर्स लिए ना कोई कोचिंग ली ना कोई कोर्स लिया और टेक्निकली एक ही अटेम्प्ट में इस पेपर को आपने निकाला है. तो ऐसा क्या किया आपने? क्या आप मुझे थोड़ा सा समराइज करके बताएंगे स्टूडेंट्स को कि ये चीज मैंने की और इट हिट द स्पॉट.
Sure, ma'am. So, ma'am, I would tell that given that I had a very limited time, like even though it was my first attempt, I took around 3 months, only 3.5 months to clear this exam, that too without coaching. So, of course, I have done something that was off the track. That was not something that everybody does. And I think most important thing is that we have heard that proverb that whenever you are given 4 hours to cut a tree, you should use 3 hours to sharpen the axe. So I think I did that part. I charted out a plan how to go about it. Although, of course, I'm not a superhuman. I did not follow it to the bit. But I tried my best to stick to that plan. I created a bit and I thought how to go about it. What are the things that should be sorted out first? What are the things that I have to prioritize? Because priority is very important when you are short of time. So whether it is priority of studying particular subject or priority of choosing the chapters or priority of questions while solving in the actual exam or the way of writing, how to capitalize on your strength, how to suppress your weaknesses, what mistakes that you should not do that the past toppers or past people who have not made it into this exam have done. You have to avoid those. So learning from their mistakes. And I think summarizing all those would give you a lump sum amount of things that you should keep in mind while preparing yourself. And I think when it comes to resources, there are ample resources in the market. Because if you see in the online generation, we are not scarce of resources. We are scarce of our self-belief that we can use those resources to make into the exam. So we should not go after the hype that you have to get something, some courses or something. I think if you can believe in yourself and the sources that you are following and stick to some limited sources. It may not be one. You can have 2-3 sources, but limit to a few. Make a consolidated notes that you should follow at last so that you don't have to scatter your thoughts later. And I think the more your thoughts are organized, the more your notes are organized, your thoughts will be even more organized. So an organized notes is very important because an organized notes will make an organized thought and an organized thought will make an organized answer. And that is very important in exam. So I think that is a brief summary of what I did in this exam.
I have asked the simple question कि summarize करो, but you had stepwise answers for that as well, है ना? So this shows about your personality, that how organized have you been in this preparation. So people who are watching outside, you have to see that in not only doing the preparation, but planning the preparation is also very important. तो थोड़ा सा आपका background मैं बता देती हूँ so that students who are aspiring they can relate with you. So by qualification, you are an engineer. आपने B.Tech M.Tech integrated course किया है electronics telecommunication engineering में, and post that you started preparing for government examinations. UPSC से start किया था आपने, but you have cleared in this journey not only the prelims of UPSC, but as I have here, multiple examinations आपने यहाँ पे क्रैक किए हैं. आपने CGL का जो एग्जाम होता है, SSC CGL क्रैक किया है,
जी
CAPF यू हैव क्रैक्ड, आयकर का एग्जामिनेशन में आप वेट लिस्टेड आए थे, और उसके अलावा नाबार्ड प्रिलिम्स ऑल्सो यू हैव. सो इतने सारे एग्जाम्स क्लियर करते करते योर फाइनल डेस्टिनेशन जो हमने देखा, RBI ग्रेड बी में आप पहुंच चुके हो, है ना. विच इज ऑफ कोर्स, जैसे मैंने स्टार्ट किया था
यस
कि
मैम यस
इन इटसेल्फ वेरी बिग फीट, अचीवमेंट है ये बहुत बड़ा. तो
यस
मैं
मैम
आपसे ये जानना चाहती हूँ, लाइक कमिंग फ्रॉम अ पर्सन हु हैज सो मच ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ दीज कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जामिनेशंस, RBI ग्रेड बी को किस लेवल पे आप रेट करोगे टफनेस के? अगर मैं आपको बोलूं कि रैंक में, कि जितने भी एग्जाम्स हैं, क्या इज इट रियली टफ टू क्रैक दिस एग्जामिनेशन, या बाकी सबसे बहुत ऊपर है जो बच्चों को डर लगता है? आप क्या कहोगे इस बारे में?
Ma'am, I would say there are two things: whether it is difficult and whether it is like competitive. Those are two different things. When it comes to competitive, it is certainly more competitive than others because the selection ratio is very less. And when it comes to difficulty level, that is a different story. Like both are not the same thing. So it is indeed competitive. And when it comes to difficulty, it is difficult in terms of the resources that are available and consumption of those resources, because the questions are like, along with being conceptual, they are like ratification based, and you need to know the raw facts, and that is what makes the exam tough. So this exam does not only need you to be good at mugging up things, but also good at concepts. So it is kind of an amalgamation of both the things. So that is what makes, because a person generally, by his like makeup of his mind, he is generally conceptual, or he is generally a kind of person who loves mugging up things. But this exam needs both, and that is what makes this exam tougher. And when it comes to in comparison to other exams, I would rate it that it is at par with UPSC. And I would love to tell you that this is the same question that you asked me was my first question in my interview. After sir asked me ki, what was your optional in social in UPSC, I said sir sociology, and then he told me, okay, compare and contrast the exams of RBI and UPSC. Which would you tell that is tougher in that regard? So this is the exact question he asked me, fortunately. So I said him the same thing, because it is like comparing apple with oranges, because both the exams have different demands. They both look for different kind of aspirants. They both have different syllabus. They both have different orientation of the exam. So it is not possible to compare both of them. But when it comes to the level of difficulty and selection ratio, I will say that it is at par with UPSC and far tougher than other exams, I would say. Because when it comes to banking or CGL or CAPF, RBI Grade B is certainly far tougher than that, both in terms of competitiveness and in terms of the effort that you need to put in, and that in terms of the syllabus and the vastness of syllabus and the type of preparation you need, the amount of hard work you need to do. I think it is at par with UPSC. There is no doubt about that.
तो कॉम्पिटिटिव तो पूरा है ये एग्जामिनेशन, राइट,
Yes,
दैट वी
ma'am.
ऑल नो. बट
I think.
अगेन, एज यू सेड, बहुत ही आपने सिंपल वर्ड्स में बताने की कोशिश की, दैट इट इज नॉट ओनली अबाउट द लेवल ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, इट इज ऑल्सो अबाउट द लेवल ऑफ कॉम्पिटिशन. एंड इफ यू फॉलो द राइट रिसोर्सेज, इफ यू फॉलो योर ओन प्लान, तो आपने भी क्रैक किया ही है ये एग्जामिनेशन, राइट. इट इज नॉट,
Yes,
ऐसा
ma'am.
नहीं है कि आप
Yes,
वहां
ma'am.
बस बैठ के डरो कि ये तो बड़ा मुश्किल एग्जामिनेशन है. Also,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
are the right person to ask this question. See, you have experience of preparing for different government examinations. Do you think
Yes,
a
ma'am.
person who is a fresher, as in who is preparing for this examination directly, can clear this
Yes.
exam? क्योंकि ये डर ना बच्चों के मन में होता है कि मे बी मैंने पहले दूसरे एग्जाम्स दिए होंगे, तभी मैं इस लेवल पे पहुंचूंगा या पहुंचूंगी कि मैं RBI निकाल पाऊं. तो आपको क्या लगता है, ऐसा है या नहीं? अगर आप सही रिसोर्सेज, सही दिशा में जाके सिर्फ RBI की तैयारी करो, तब भी निकाल सकते हो.
Ma'am, I would bifurcate your question in two things. First, that what should they think, and second, what should be their approach. I would like to answer both of them. When it comes to whether can they do it or not, so I can tell you one thing. Although I have cleared multiple exams, but this was my first exam in the domain of banking, because I have not given IBPS, SBI, anything. NABARD and this exam I targeted. So I would say that when it comes to banking domain, I did, like, it was my first exam for me also. So having my first attempt, clearing it in 3 months with self study, and that too with 1/4 of the seats. So it's kind of four most deadly combinations you can have. So if I can do in that regard, I think it is not like not doable for anybody. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I had 4 constraints. You would be having at least 3 or 2, not more than that at most. So that is very rare to have all of these 4 combinations together. So I was the most unfortunate, but unfortunately I made it. So I think it is very much doable. If I can do that, anybody can do that. Again, that what is the need? What they should do is, it is not important whether you take this course or not, or that course or not. That is not important. What is important is whether you are utilizing that thing or not. Because what does the course do? It summarizes everything. whatever you are doing, it will summarize everything for you and it will give you a ready-made material to study. So if you are doing it self-study and if you want to follow yourself, you just have to do the thing that the teachers are doing. You have to compile it. If you can compile it, for example, suppose that you have, like, I will give you an example of my note that I made. So I have shared it in previous talks also, that I had one scheme, one page kind of scenario, like that mindset, that I will mention one scheme in one A4 sheet, and each and every detail should be there in that of that scheme should be there in that page, and nothing beyond that page. So if when I'm reading that page, that scheme is completed in and out. There should not be a single question that I'm missing. I did this for I think 35 to 40 schemes, and that was overall like to complete for this schemes. Although the question may not come directly from my notes, but it will give me all the peripheral knowledge that is needed. And overall, if you see the cost benefit analysis, I think that was the most productive thing that I did, because the most difficult part is ESI. And if I can do that for that, and same thing I did for reports, I think it was the most cost benefit ratio that I got from my notes. So I think these are some things that coachings do on your behalf. If you can do that on yourself, I think there is nothing different in between coaching and other things. So you can do it, pretty much doable. Apart from that, if you keep following the things, people try to achieve climb the mountain at once. Rather, you should climb the hills daily. Then you can achieve that endurance to climb that mountain. So even if somebody is trying it for the first time, I think mock interviews, mock test would be a very good idea. If you can give mock test, it will give you the real time scenario. Of course, you have to be disciplined, because being not enrolled in a coaching comes with a lot of shortcomings. And the most important thing is that you have to be disciplined, very disciplined in yourself. If you cannot be disciplined, because if you enroll in a course, they will give you the timeline and the structure and the daily schedule. But when you're doing it yourself, discipline is the most important thing. You have to be disciplined. If you're following a mock test, give it with utmost seriousness, without stopping in between, pausing in between. And if you can do that, I think it will give you a pretty much feel of examination. So apart from that, what I did, why I cleared these exams, because there are many exams which I gave only just as a mock test. Like for example, I gave CGL just as a mock test because I never wanted to join it. I was just giving it because I just wanted to take a feel of real-time examination. I think you can do that for, there are various examinations at par with, like whose pattern are for like RBI. For example, GA, Quant, Reasoning, English is the pattern of almost all the banking exams and prelims. You can appear in any one of them and try if you can make it in that or not. That will relieve you of your fear also, and that will give you a good analysis of yourself, how you perform in under pressure in real-time environment. I think these are the things that you should do in between your preparation. That will really boost you even if you are working alone.
So to summarize, जो आपने यहाँ पे points बोले हैं, that taking a coaching is not necessary, first of all, and it comes with its own shortcomings. And if you don't go for it, then you have to be more disciplined. You have to find out more resources. The most important thing is to remain disciplined and to make yourself ready for the examination. That you did by taking multiple examinations itself. ये भी बड़ी चीज है कि mock test नहीं, आप पेपर देने पहुंच गए अभी सारे, which is actually a good thing. Because वहां पे जाके वो जो एक competition pressure feel होता है, it is going to help you anyway.
Exactly.
So,
ma'am, the most important thing is because like what I felt, I never gave that many mock tests, because I felt that mock test is like sitting at your comfort of your home, and वो कितना भी कर लो वो feel नहीं आता. But when I went to the real examinations, the entry time, when you see the lot of crowd outside who are going to compete with you, the exam pressure, the pressure that of the invigilator circling you, so those things, when you see, you get the real feel of the examination, and I think that is much better than any interview. So I have always prioritized giving a real exam instead of a mock test. So if you see my mock test, I would not have given more than 4 or 5 mock tests for pre, and for mains I did not give any mock test. So I think I use this thing only, that I have to go for exam and let's hit that. So that was my way of doing. So again, when you have lot of shortcomings that you have lot of shortage of time, you are not taking any coaching, you have to look for ad hoc strategies and unique strategies that will work for you. Because if you follow the same path, you will not reach a different destination altogether. That is what I did.
तो इस सब में ना सबसे अब इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन जो यहाँ पे बनता जा रहा है, दैट इज व्हाट वर द रिसोर्सेज दैट यू फॉलोड. क्योंकि एक कोई डेडिकेटेड कोचिंग नहीं ली आपने, टाइम कम था, यू वर टेकिंग दिस एग्जाम फॉर द वेरी फर्स्ट टाइम. तो क्या पहले तो मतलब कैसे सोचा कि मुझे ये ढूंढना है, वो आई वांट टू नो द थॉट प्रोसेस दैट यू हैड. बिकॉज जो स्टूडेंट्स देख रहे हैं, उनको ये सिर्फ एक ये मैसेज नहीं जाना चाहिए ना कि हाँ जी कोचिंग ले ली, खुद से पढ़ाई की. उसके पीछे क्या थॉट प्रोसेस था, और फिर जब आपने सोर्सेज ढूंढने शुरू किए, कैसे पहुंचे उन सोर्सेज तक. और फिर आप प्लीज अगर हमें सोर्सेज भी कुछ बता पाएं, ऑफ कोर्स फ्री सोर्सेज जो बच्चे रेफर कर सकते हैं.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I would say there are a few things. For example, if I tell you the first thing that I did was कि क्या पढ़ना है. That is most important. What you have to study and chart out. For example, a few of the things which I did before prelims was like management wala, finance wala part. I did before prelims because I had UPSC background, so I had a certain idea of economic statics and finance statics. So I had that advantage. I just brushed up that. Apart from that, for like I knew for general awareness I have to do something. So if I tell you about the free sources, so I used like there are multiple coachings. Your coaching is there, and many other coachings are there. For example, Affairs Cloud, and many are there. So what I did, I think I took two or three for each month, and most of the news would be same only because the major events
Magazine, like
is
monthly
covered by
magazine
everybody.
you took?
So whatever extra, yes,
ठीक है.
and I made a consolidated note. For example, the entire monthly magazine news should come in one side of my A4 sheet or even lesser. I have a right style of writing very small as possible, so that I have the mental freedom that I have to just read 2-3 pages. That is the most important thing which I do. That is my habit, like from the beginning, that I'll make very small notes because I have to get that luxury that yes, I just have to read so many pages. Because if you see, my entire management notes was in 6 to 7 pages, and that was very comprehensive. The same I did for others. So that I can have that intellectual freedom that I have to study only 7 pages and my management will be done. That is what I did. So that is how I went for GA. Quant reasoning and English, of course, my like I had good strength in this, so I just capitalized on that. Practice, मतलब it was giving other exams also, तो वो हो जाता है. Apart from that, for GA part I told you, and the most important thing for GA is it is in my habit now that I have been following current affairs almost daily, like every day for last 3-4 years. That is my habit now to listen to current affairs or to read current affairs, just as a matter of choice, not as a matter of preparation for an exam. So that is what is very important, which I always tell. You have to be vigilant. You cannot, you cannot stake your career just at one magazine or two magazines. You have to be very vigilant. You have to look for a general awareness, because if you see of late all the examinations, including RBI Grade B, they are shifting from current affairs to the general meaning of general awareness. That you should have a brief idea about your society in general. What are the things happening? What you don't get in the conventional sources. So if you can be a little vigilant, it will open up your scope also, scope of your mind, scope of your vision. Apart from that, it will give you a very good subconscious mind, because in exam we don't have to write the answer, we have to recognize the answer. The answer is already written in the options. So if you can listen to these news and all things daily, I think they go into your subconscious mind, creating a very good memory, and when you see the options, it definitely comes out. So that is what I did, that made a consolidated source of my current affairs from multiple institutes, like 2-3 institutes, because I think 10% only varies in between all of them. The rest 90% will be same only. So I did that, and then I was mentally satisfied that yes, I've covered 3 magazines, so nothing will come out of that. So that is what I did in the beginning, before my prelims exam. And the phase 2 part was totally done after prelims. So that is a different story altogether.
That is actually a different story, that after phase 1 only you did your phase 2 part. So, okay, see, GA part you have handled, that this consolidated notes
Yes.
of your own by following different multiple magazines. See, this is one thing I would say, I will be honest here, you are not the first topper to tell this. Many toppers
Yes,
have
ma'am. Of
done the
course.
same thing. And I emphasize this a lot to the candidates, that this is the best thing, rather than, pausing the video and making notes. Uski bajaye,
Yes.
फॉलो द मैगजीन और उसमें से नोट्स बनाओ,
Yes.
बिकॉज देन दैट विल बी योर
Exactly.
प्राइमरी सोर्स. तो ये तो है ही.
Yes, ma'am.
क्वांट रीजनिंग इंग्लिश आपका स्ट्रेंथ रहेगा तो इट इज डेफिनेटली गोइंग टू हेल्प यू. यू कैन गो फॉर मल्टीपल एग्जामिनेशंस.
Yes.
तो दिस इज वन थिंग दैट स्टूडेंट्स शुड नोट फ्रॉम यू. नाउ ऑफ कोर्स, हाउ डिड यू प्रिपेयर फेज 2 in such a short span of time?
Yes, ma'am. For management, ma'am, there are resources available, because I knew ki, people used to tell, like until last year, everybody used to say that, including you. You also told that management FM is relatively easy. You can score 70-80 marks. So all the teachers were saying this, but this time RBI changed the entire pattern. Like everybody was shocked what happened, and I would tell you that I was much more than fortunate, because I did not read any, like I did not ratify anything, I did not remember anything. I just had a broad idea about the things. I had all the concepts, everything was there, but I did not learn the specific names and all. But fortunately this time they did not ask that. The paper was highly application oriented, and that is what I benefited me. So I would say that the change in pattern was a luckier thing for me, because that helped me. Had it been a ratification type of paper, I would have definitely not made it into this. But it was an application based paper, so I was really benefited because my concept was clear. So what I did, I took around 10 days, I think 7 to 8 days, to finish all the chapters of management. And what I did, I got a lot of free materials of, again, of various institutes. material is available. You see Telegram and all, everything is available. So if you take that and if you can understand it well, because concepts you can understand by listening to videos and all, but if you can get a consolidated note, that is very important. Then I made my notes, and that is my habit. I never rely on a particular coaching or something. I made my notes out of it. I finished entire management notes making in 7 to 8 days. Apart from that, what I did, I made the notes in 7 8 days, and then after the same thing I did for finance. For finance, like I had a UPSC background, so it was pretty much covered. But again, I took the things that are to be remembered. For example, banking history, RBI history, whatever is there. Some static part which we don't study. I took multiple sources, made a consolidated notes, and then after I completed everything. I took around 5 to 7 days to ratify everything, whatever I can remember, whatever I can understand. I did everything. And for ESI and part, I told you that I made one scheme, one page kind of thing, and one report, one page kind of thing, and that was very helpful. Apart from that, what I did after completing all this, at last, what I did, I tried to remember everything, and when it comes to scheme and report, I think I remembered each and every word, each and every dot, every single thing, because I knew that is the only thing that you're going to do. And I think I made around 30 40 schemes, and there were around 15 pages, if I say it, to be honest. If you take both the sides, with 30, otherwise 15 pages. And I think that is the most important, because it is giving you 100 marks in ESI. So 100 marks from that 15 pages is the most return on investment you can think of. So this is how I did, keeping my sources to minimum, again making even shorter notes from that, and then remembering it and revising it multiple times. I think that is the key to clear this.
This is, I think, a very effective strategy that you have actually told, कि सिर्फ पढ़ना नहीं है, that you have to ensure that whatever you are reading, जो भी पढ़ रहे हो, वो याद रहे. वो सबसे जरूरी है, because students are running behind covering the syllabus. ये पढ़ लूँ, वो पढ़ लूँ, वो याद कैसे रहेगा? When you make notes, when you do revision, उसको बार बार go through करोगे, और उसमें, as you said, कि उसको crisp notes बना के करोगे, that is the best resource. उठाओ जब भी मन करे आप पढ़ सकते हो, right? तो
And ma'am,
phase
I
one,
think
yes.
I think when you make your notes on your own by writing yourself, that is much more beneficial than highlighting in a PDF or something. It might be working for many of the people, but I think it is more effective when you write it with your hand. When you understand it, that you understand it while writing, that is more effective when it comes to remembering and reciting those things. Because again, in MCQ, you don't have to write the answers; you have to just recognize the answers. Answers are already there. So I think those things really help. If you understand the psychology of the examination and the examiner, I think there are many smart ways to do the exam. And as far as I believe, all these officer level exams, they are not only checking your understanding and ratification ability. They're also checking your spontaneity. How do you handle things, and how do you tackle the problems that comes along your way. So you need to be a little ad hoc, a little strategic in this regard.
ठीक है, तो I think all the things that are required from the perspective of a candidate, you have tried to put light on each and every point कि ये चीजें करनी चाहिए, ऐसे करनी चाहिए. Now, see, कुछ बहुत ही ऐसे मैं ऐसे क्वेश्चंस पूछना चाहती हूँ which are very kind of frequently asked questions, जो बस हम जल्दी जल्दी में वाइंड अप करेंगे, क्योंकि एक वो होता है ना कि जो देख रहे हैं बच्चे, उनको ये लगना चाहिए कि हाँ, मेरा ये क्वेश्चन मेरे मन में था जो मुझे पता चला. तो very first thing is I want to know, do you think that a student who has no background of competitive examinations, पहली बार दे रहे हैं, वो ये पेपर निकाल सकता है?
Ma'am, I would say it is very much possible, and I think it would be even better chance, because you don't have any baggage or something. You don't have any guilt of not clearing an exam. You don't have anything. You are just attempting as a fresher. And I think the first attempt is the best. Like, first attempt is the best chance. You can take my example, because I did not have any idea. That is the best thing. When you get a lot of ideas, there are a lot of confusions. Last time ये हुआ था, ये नहीं हुआ था, that happened, this not happened. So I think it will be far better. So this is like very much doable for first timers.
ठीक है. And एक और डाउट, क्या इस एग्जामिनेशन को फेज 1 फेज 2 ठीक है, इंटरव्यू तक पहुंचने के लिए, इंटरव्यू को निकालने के लिए वर्क एक्सपीरियंस होना जरूरी है? क्या कोई कॉलेज से निकला हुआ बच्चा निकाल सकता है पेपर, या फिर जिनके पास कोई वर्क एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है, सिर्फ तैयारी ही कर रहे हैं 2-3 सालों से?
Ma'am, I would tell you a very frank thing in this. What this is something which I also thought. I also worked at a private company, Capgemini, for 9 months. But it was after I graduated in 2020 or 2021. But I think if they would be looking, had they would be looking for an experienced candidate, they would have given it as at least as a desirable qualification in the notification. But the experience is not even mentioned in the desirable column, let alone the essential column. So that is very clear that they don't need experience in that regard. They just need a talented person. Whether it is experience or not, that is not important. Because had they been looking for an experienced guy, they would have at least given that in desirable column in the qualifications. but it is not there, neither in essential nor in desirable. So I don't know from where this question comes. Like, why do people ask this? It's very very apparent, no, that they are not looking specifically for experienced candidates. So that is a very
Right.
obvious thing to think, and
Right.
this is what I think. This is what I thought before appearing this, that I don't know if I had experience for at a gap of 2-3 years. So will they be looking? Then I saw the notification कि ऐसा कुछ है ही नहीं, so why to worry about it? So then I was relaxed. I would say the same thing.
अपनी खुद की वरी बढ़ाने की जरूरत नहीं है, जो
नहीं
लिखा
नहीं
है वही
बिल्कुल भी
वहां
नहीं.
पे चाहिए. अच्छा,
Exactly.
अनदर क्वेश्चन. हाउ मेनी
Yes,
मंथ्स,
ma'am.
बिल्कुल ऐसे ऑनेस्ट आंसर देना, हाउ मेनी मंथ्स ऑफ प्रिपरेशन इज रिक्वायर्ड टू क्रैक दिस एग्जामिनेशन? 3, 4, 5, 6 मंथ्स या 1 साल भी लग सकता है, आपको क्या लगता है बिल्कुल प्रैक्टिकली?
Ma'am, I would say I took 3 months. इसमें at least I would have got 1 month of benefit because of my UPSC. So you can take it कि 4 months I took overall. Otherwise, I think like I would say that if you study well and if you're full time studying, I think 4 months would also be much more than like much more to qualify this exam because the syllabus is not very big. If you see the like when what we call as big syllabus, we call UPSC as a syllabus, something that has big syllabus.
हम्म.
So you have to understand the difference between a big thing and a difficult thing. Those are two different things. People think
हम्म.
the syllabus is big. Syllabus is not big. It is difficult. So a difficult thing might be covered easily, but a big thing cannot be covered easily. If somebody says that I can complete the syllabus of UPSC in two months or 3 months, that is impossible. But the syllabus of RBI can be covered. However, the problem in RBI is that you have to remember everything, whatever you study. That is what makes it tough. So if you have a good remembering ability and if you are full time working for it, I think 4 months is much more than required. Of course, I'm not considering QRE in this because quant reasoning is something that we need to practice and that comes after practice. So I'm not considering that. But apart from that, the other subjects that are not quant and reasoning, I think they can be easily done within 4 months.
ठीक है, फेयर इनफ. नाउ एक क्वेश्चन जो विच इज एक्चुअली कमिंग फ्रॉम योर स्टोरी ओनली. So much
Yes,
of
ma'am.
hard work, so much of dedication, so much of discipline, such an organized preparation. मोटिवेशन कहाँ से आया इतना सब कि करना है, करना ही है, बस लगे रहना है?
Ma'am, as I always tell everybody, my motivation has been only one thing, that anything that I'm getting at once, I will not be settling at that because I think I can do much better. Whenever I have to
हम्म.
struggle for something, that is where I will stop. That yes, I had to struggle for that, then I think I'm made for that. And if I'm getting it for easy, I think then I think for myself, not to boast, just to I have that belief in myself that if I'm getting something at once, maybe there is something higher that I can achieve, and I do go for it. So I think that has been the consistent motivation for me since like the first day I passed out and I started this journey of competitive examination. So that has been what has been driving me since then.
And I think this motivation of yours, this philosophy of yours is really going to motivate a lot of candidates out there.
Thank you
तो
so much, ma'am.
आई रियली होप कि ये जो एक आपने जर्नी शेयर की है, ये उधर जो बच्चे देख रहे हैं उनको बहुत हेल्प मिले. अगर आप, मैं कैंडिडेट से ही कहना चाहती हूँ दैट यू गाइज हैव एनी डाउट, कुछ पूछना चाहते हो या कुछ मोटिवेशन लगा, तो इस वीडियो के नीचे कमेंट करके जरूर बताना, बिकॉज फ्रॉम देयर विल गेट टू नो कि अच्छा ये डाउट्स अभी भी रह गए हैं, तो विल ट्राई टू टॉक टू अमित के वापस आओ, ये वाले डाउट्स फिर से क्लियर करके जाओ बच्चों के,
Welcome, ma'am.
है ना?
Ma'am, in that regard, I have told like I have made a Telegram channel for that for sharing my notes and all. There
ठीक
are
है.
I think around 200 people already there in that, so they can connect me. Of course, now I'm not at home currently, so I do not have my notes now. But like within few days, I'll reach my home, then I'll share my notes and like we can have sessions or whatever is required. Like I can connect to them personally also. They can connect me on Telegram and. So I think that is not a big thing, ma'am, because like I would tell you honestly that I had 2-3 friends who helped me in this journey, and in this regard, I think it's my moral obligation to help those people who are coming next in the line. So I can definitely connect with them, and I think 3-4 people have already connected to me in this regard that you please guide us. So that is okay, and I would love to do that because I have been helped by some people. So there is no reason why I should say no to somebody. So I'll try my best to do that. They can connect me on Telegram. That is
वंडरफुल, वंडरफुल दैट इज. तो वी विल डेफिनेटली ट्राई कि हम वापस मिले, बच्चों के डाउट्स भी क्लियर करें और आपके साथ डायरेक्टली अगर बच्चे कनेक्ट कर पाए तो ये और भी अच्छा रहेगा. वी विल ट्राई ऑन दैट. उसके लिए आप लोग प्लीज कमेंट करके बताइए क्या और सवाल है आपके मन में जो आप अमित जी से जानना चाहते हो, आपके मन में और ऐसी चीजें जो लग रहा है कि ये अभी रह गया, ये और इस बारे में बात की होती या इस तरह की चीजें और बताई होती, तो आप कमेंट कीजिए, वहीं से हमें आइडिया मिलेगा आपके डाउट्स का. बाकी अभी के लिए आई वुड लाइक टू एंड अप दिस सेशन एंड आई वुड लाइक टू थैंक यू अगेन. आपने अपना प्रेशियस टाइम दिया, लेकिन जाते जाते अगेन कुछ आप कहना चाहते हो कैंडिडेट्स आउट देयर जो आज सिर्फ एस्पिरेंट्स हैं, तो कमिंग फ्रॉम हॉर्सेस माउथ होता है ना, आपसे सुनना चाहेंगे, तो क्या
yes.
कहना चाहोगे?
Well, I would just say one thing that any exam, be it any exam or any difficult fight or anything, it is all about confidence and self-belief. from it, and it is very true from Alexander to tell that it is all about self belief and your determination to play. The entire motivation to clear an exam comes from like what do you want, how badly do you want, and what all things can you sacrifice for that. That is most important thing. If you want something badly, there is no reason why you should hesitate or why you should go down. And I always tell people that you do not need to study 10 hours daily. I always tell ki what make a target and try to achieve it on an average. For example, if you have made a target to study 6 hours daily, if one day you are studying 4 hours, make sure that next day you study 8 hours. But keep that average to six. You need not study 6 hours every day, but keep that average to your optimum level, whatever you want, be it in a week or in a month. But try to maintain that average, and I think that is pretty much doable. It may not be achievable in daily basis, but I think it can be done on an average basis within a week or 2 weeks or in a month. So that is what you can do. Apart from that, do not take the baggage of or guilt of anything that you have not made it this exam, that exam. Ultimately, it's just a matter of one day. Like before clearing this RBI, I was like, hoga nahi hoga. When I got the result, I was too anxious to check it whether hua nahi hua. But the moment I saw the result, it was done. So I think once you make it into this exam, all your efforts, all your sacrifices, everything will be worth it. Each and every day of your life, you'll feel the importance of that those moments. So each and every day, you'll feel that every effort and every sacrifice that you have made so far has been worth it. So just keep working hard, and of course there were people. I always say that there were people who made it before me. There are people who made it with me, and of course there will be people who will make it after me. So be try to be a part of them, and let's meet in RBI next year. That's it.
ग्रेट ग्रेट ग्रेट, बहुत बहुत ज्यादा आपने अच्छी, प्रैक्टिकल, मोटिवेटिंग और मैं ये कहूंगी जेन्युइन बातें कही हैं, कमिंग फ्रॉम अ कैंडिडेट जिसने अपनी मेहनत से, मैं कहूंगी, पेपर निकाला है। क्योंकि सिर्फ पढ़ने में मेहनत नहीं लगती है, पढ़ने के आसपास की चीजों को सेटअप करने में भी बहुत मेहनत लगती है। सो अगेन
Thank you.
कंग्रेचुलेशंस टू यू on clearing this examination,
Thank you.
and we hope to meet you again, and we really hope, I know that you are going to make a very good officer। आप जैसे लोगों की देश को जरूरत है।
Ma'am.
तो
Thank you so much, ma'am.
थैंक यू, थैंक यू अगेन, एंड मिलते हैं बहुत जल्दी। थैंक यू गाइज।